The carriers and distribution entities of this podcast may or may not share our thoughts and opinions and should not be held responsible for thoughts, ideas, or opinions expressed on the Wheels and Shaky podcast. Welcome to episode 2 of the Wheels and Shaky podcast. This one we hope will be better than the last one. The goal of continuous improvement is always on our minds. Joining me as usual is the brains of the operation, Miss Wheels.
Hello.
Here she is.
Brains are debatable.
Miss Wheels, in our effort to be completely honest and transparent, would you like to give us your current status?
Let's see, I've got the tools of the trade, the Kleenex.
Yes.
I have a nice bottle of water to clear my throat.
Very good.
In the spirit of honesty, I can say I live in Northern Illinois and my allergies are ridiculous. So you get to deal with the stuffy nose, the scratchy voice, all this good stuff. So
here we go.
Let's have fun with this.
Right on. We got the pollen dump. We got the pollen dump last night. I have a bunch of green stuff all over my car. So my allergies have not kicked in yet, but will, I'm sure.
And I told you I thought of a new episode today. Those people out there that are listening can understand how being confined to a spot and not being able to reach your Kleenex, not having someone able to bring you Kleenex is a nightmare.
Right.
Yeah, so allergy season is not fun unless you can keep one of these handy at all points.
I hear you. Well, an interesting thing happened. So an interesting happened right as we were leading up to our little recording here.
Yeah.
So we have an agenda. We have an outline that we're trying to follow, and much to the chagrin of Miss Wheels, I'm a squirrel in a maze chasing a marble with a thing. I mean, I'm everywhere. So
and I'm not.
Right, and yeah, it drives her berserk. But one of our topics that we're going to get to later today is asking for help, is asking for assistance, reaching out for products, tools, things that can help us out. Well, today's product that we're going to talk about reaching out for is other people. And oddly enough, somebody could not reach the plug to plug in her laptop so we could do this, and was very hesitant to text her daughter, who's on duty for helping her right now, and happens to be sitting outside enjoying a little bit of sun.
Sunbathing. I didn't want to bother her.
I was just enjoying a little bit of sun. And heaven forbid we should text her to walk 15 or 20 feet in from the house to come in and plug in your laptop. And not
which I did, and she came in immediately.
You did, which I had to prompt you to do.
I don't like asking for help.
Because
I'm not good at asking for help.
Nor am I. And thus, here is today's topic. There we go. We have stumbled upon today's little discussion. So we're talking about wins and losses, and some of those wins and losses are asking for help, when to ask for help, how to ask for help. When is it, in some cases, when is it okay not to ask for help? And the hardest part about all of this is bringing yourself to admit, A, you need help, and B, asking for it. That's where the crux of this whole thing is. And lo and behold, leading up to the very last couple of minutes going before the show was the need for help to be asked of and a hesitancy to do it.
It is the most difficult lesson that I learned.
It is.
Yes. Just knowing, first accepting that you need help, and then knowing, when you're at the point when you're actually having to admit it to yourself. And now for me, I hate the word bother. I don't want to bother anyone to help me if they're doing something. And it's awful because this is part of today's topic too. My children are my paid caregivers. The state of Illinois pays them to take care of me. I just hate asking them for help, even though I know that they're getting paid.
They're on the payroll. They're on the payroll. It
I
is
don't want to bother them, and I don't want to be a bother.
exactly.
Be bother.
Yeah, you're right. I get it. I get it. I am not the I use this word hesitantly, but I use it because it's kind of a funny choice. I don't want to be a burden to anybody, realizing that I've been married to to Allison for 26 years, and I feel like the word burden just sort of comes along with my package. Here's this guy you're going to have to put up with for 26 years at least, still ongoing, and he's just one big giant burden, and here he is. Welcome to me. That being the case, it's an argument of self-sufficiency, and I know based on our interactions and our relationship and helping you and so on and so forth, that you don't like losing your self-sufficiency. Do you? I mean, no. So, I mean, I hate to talk about that thing, but talk about that for a second. I mean, it's
I mean, it's not even, it's a matter of admitting that you can't do something. And it's a matter of admitting that I know I have a disease, and I know the disease is going to continually get worse. There is no cure. There's nothing that can be done. So I do physical therapy. I'm always finding it. But when I finally get to a point where I have to ask for help, I don't know. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. And the problem with MS is that I might need help with something today. I have to remember that I might be okay tomorrow. It's not the end of the world needing help today, or even later in the day. This morning was really, really rough, and I needed a lot of help to get ready for the day. But I made my own lunch. So I don't know. It's difficult to accept that you need the help and that there's people out there willing to help you.
Hmm.
And it can also make them feel good for helping you. And it's not even the people that are, in your proximity, your doctor, your caregivers, website, podcasts. There's people out there to help you.
Really?
What a unique idea.
I think a couple things to keep in perspective. While I'm in this position where I'm having to do it a little more often as well.
You're learning.
Fine motor skills for me are becoming a thing. Spatial awareness for me is becoming a thing.
Touch your nose.
What?
Touch your nose. You got to do the exercise.
Oh yeah, I got to do this whole business, and I go to the doctor.
20 years.
I go to the doctor. I got to do stupid human tricks. It's like I'm taking a field sobriety test every time I go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Stand on one foot, and juggle.
Sit up and backwards.
Here's be a trained monkey.
Yep.
So fine. There's that. The other thing, little fine motor skills are starting to become a thing. But here's the deal that I kind of tell myself. There were times before when I had to ask for help with other random things. Sometimes you're just in a position where you have to ask for help. In our case, sometimes we have to ask for more. Maybe we're asking more often than we'd like to. Certainly, I know for you once is more than you'd like to, because I can say it. I can say it proudly. You're a giant pain in the ass when it comes to not asking for help.
I've had to ask you for help a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you hate it. I know you hate it, but. And then the question is, what form does the help take? Look, and I realize I don't make this easy on you because, Well, I'm gonna dangle the carrot out in front of you a little bit. Come on, reach for it, reach for it.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
I can be a bit of a jerk about it sometimes with you, but at the same time, while I'm being a jerk about it, it's not because I'm intentionally trying to be a jerk. It's because I'm trying to make you laugh in the process.
You do.
I have found with you over the years that somehow or another making you laugh throughout whatever it is that we're doing sort of makes it a little bit easier, maybe.
And this is where you should insert the Rocky theme that you used to torture me with.
Yes, there was that. Or what going up the steps when we're
trying to give me to make it all the way up the steps, yeah. But
Yeah.
you do have a different perspective now because you were the caregiver, and since your
Yeah.
diagnosis, your perspective has changed a little bit.
Oh yeah. Now I sing it to myself.
And I get to say all those things you told me for all those years. I say it right back.
Yeah.
But they do inspire us to keep going
That's
and to
coming back.
laugh, even though I twinge at the Rocky theme song.
Yeah, that's coming back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
But it'll happen. It's gonna happen. Oh, by the way, so I think I have now used 2 or 3 swear words so far in this little episode. We should probably explain that. Yes, well, I think we'd like this to be somewhat appropriate for kids. You're also getting our real selves here. Amy is Wheels is she's a teetotaler when it comes to the vulgarities.
I just can't. I worked with, that's why I actually had this episode titled Help is a 4-letter word, because I don't like 4-letter words. I worked with kids in a daycare, and I taught middle schoolers for so long that I did unteach myself. Because you drop one of those bombs in front of preteens or teenagers, oh my God, you'll never hear the end of it. So I just boop, took it all out of my mind. And I just can't.
They're sentence enhancers.
If you can help, I can't say help. So it's just as bad a 4-letter word.
I'd like it if you could make the dolphin sounds like they did in the SpongeBob episode about sentence enhancers.
I love that one. Sentence enhancers, yeah.
So since we're a bit out of order, the reason we are out of order on our little outline here is because the precursor of what happened right before
your
this
squirrel brain.
Well, that and just you having to legit ask for help about to get us going on an episode where we wanted to talk about how much it sucks to ask for help.
You know what this goes towards the memory thing is I legitimately forgot that I could ask for help. Yeah. So my brain was not there either. So many episodes can be born from this.
Yeah.
But my big thing was just trying to navigate when I needed to start asking for help. Because when I was diagnosed with MS, I was completely functional. I mean, it was relapsing remitting MS. So you wouldn't really know you were having a relapse till it happened. And I would go years without needing help. Or I would need help with little things. I first noticed that I couldn't button my own shirts. One day my left hand wouldn't work to button my own shirt. And to have to ask someone to help you with something so simple, I'm not sure if it was embarrassing or humiliating. A lot of stuff was humiliating in the beginning, but Shaky, I have you to thank for making a lot of that funny. And it helps. It can be embarrassing.
Well, the other question is what kind of help and what help does the form take? I.e., I'm going to say this falls under help, but it was fun help. Was the old Friday night wine nights.
Yeah.
Back in the days when you were taking giving yourself a shot once a week, and in an effort to mentally prepare you for that, you and I and Allison and whoever else was present in the neighborhood would show up. And we would consume copious amounts of alcohol before you would have the gumption to, inject yourself.
You make it sound so fun.
Well, I'll tell you, it was fun. And that was, hey, look, if I can provide that kind of help, I'm in. I'm good. So let me see if I got this right. The help you're asking me for is to show up to your house and consume alcohol with you?
And cheer me on. Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. I'm in. Let's go. This is, you know,
But see, that's the kind of help that changes.
right.
I was able to do that by myself. And now I do take monthly injections, and most months I can do them myself. But I'd say last month I'd ask one of my kids for help.
Yep.
Because my hand wasn't stable enough to do it. So a lot of it is just knowing when to ask for help and learning to be open about it. Because what I've learned, especially having my kids as my caregivers, yeah, they're getting paid. But we joke all the time that I wiped their butts for so long. I took care of them. It's their turn to take care of me. Not, I will never. Okay,
It's the
asking
circle
for
of
help.
life. This is
I
where
will
Elton
not
John
ask them to wipe my butt.
this is where the Elton John kicks in. It's the circle of life. This is where all this.
Savannah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
as much as I start out wiping their butts, when I say that now, I will never ask them to do that for me. Case in point, I don't know what help I'll need in the future. And as embarrassing as it seems to me right now, maybe in the future I will evolve to the point where I'm comfortable asking for things like that.
Get yourself a good high quality bidet.
I just did. That's
Japanese,
another episode.
go full on Japanese toilet. Yes, that's another episode. Yes, the Japanese toilet is an episode in and of itself, especially if you've been in the ones in the Japanese airport, because that is like taking a dump in the Starship Enterprise. That's the greatest.
Well, always that is going to be my big splurge. This is another thing where my son installed the bidet. He helped.
Your big splurge, so to speak.
It flooded the basement.
Oh boy.
But that's another episode.
Yes, that's a whole nother
episode. But I mean, and help can come in a lot of different ways. For example, really goofy thing. Normally, my children cook for me. Sometimes some things are hard. Some days are fine, some days aren't. Today we had to order DoorDash. But she was out sunbathing. She was amazed because normally she would go to the door and wait and blah, 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 bring it in. All I had to do is go to the door, open the door, meet the driver at the door, and she handed me the food. I used to do this when you guys would go to Six Flags. And I was home alone, long time before I was in the wheelchair. As long as I meet the DoorDash at the door, I can feed myself. So I mean, there's certain days that I need the help. Certain days I don't.
That's where it's an interesting challenge, I think, for you, because it is just so random. It's
the roller coaster of life.
Yeah,
it changes throughout the day.
I'm trying to come up with something that I can correlate it to with me. If I know what my schedule is going to be, or I know what this is going to be, I know what that's going to be, where I can sort of plan. Oh, I'm going to need help here. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need help there. Where I can sort of plan my day. Your day, and I've seen this. I've seen you wake up. Like back when you were at the old house when we were all living together.
Right.
I would see you wake up. I should probably explain the logistics of this a little bit, but okay, so very quickly, just side note, real quickly, when Wheels was living with my wife and I, my home office was right next to where her bed and shower and her bed and her bathroom, everything was. So I would be walking by and I'd see her wake up in the morning. And I would see you wake up and sometimes I could tell, or you could tell, right? You could, oh, this is going to be a bad day. Oh, this is going to be a rough day. Or this is going to be a great day. And then 3 hours later, you go, oh, this is going to be a great day. I already feel good. System check is going well. Hands, legs are moving. I'm good. And then 3 hours later, you're just a lump you're just a lump in your chair because because a weather system came through, the barometric pressure changed, and it changed everything for you. And I've seen vice versa with that. I've seen you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh boy, I can tell already, this is not going to be good. And then by lunch, you're making your own lunch and you're working on whatever it is that you happen to be working on. I've seen it turn on a dime with you.
And that's why you need to know when you need the help.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you need to have people around you who are supportive and can accept that, yay, she looks great right now, but in an hour she might need me. You really, I mean, it depends on how you take care of yourself during the course of the day.
Yes, which you're fabulous at, by the way. Yeah.
I'm not stubborn.
No, not at all. Not at all. Somebody had to, I mean, not even like somebody else prompting you to ask for somebody to just come in and plug in a laptop. It's an interesting thing. Like I said, for me, it's beginning to, it's an odd role reversal in my house. Like Allison comes up to me, I can still open the jar. Hey, can you open this? Yeah, because it's really tight. But now it's, hey, can you unwrap this package? Because this, I can't get that little thing. Or, hey, can you set the show to record on the remote? Because I can't get the button right.
Your Apple remote is a nightmare.
It is. I love, look.
Ooh, another topic idea.
And another, just focus.
I'm not even showing you my left hand today because it's just.
Yeah, well, no.
I can't, I can barely do this.
So unpaid, look, unpaid endorsement for the most part. I'm a proponent of most Apple products. I'm a Mac user. I'm an iPad user. I'm an iPhone user. But dear Apple, fix your stupid Apple TV remote. It is the dumbest, most unuser-friendly piece of crap that you've ever made. It is, this goes along the lines of the old Lisa Mac, of the old Lisas and the old computers you used to make that were crap. It's terrible. And it was terrible before the tremor was a problem. Now it's more terrible. And I'm going to end up migrating to Roku for my TV controls because the remote's more user-friendly.
Well, here you're making a very good point, though. I mean, I have a different remote, but it's got a skin on it. Here's the point, though. We had to seek out, or you haven't yet. I had to seek out help when the remote didn't work. I had to look up these websites and look up these products, and we found a skin that's I don't know, it's silicone, but it also has ridges on it, so it's easier for me to grip. So these products and these helps are out there, but A, you need to admit that you need the help, and B, you sometimes need to find it, because you and I've discussed this. Okay, they don't say, here, congratulations, you have MS. Now here's a handbook on how to be disabled. Right. You have to seek out. There's human help out there. You just need to find it. I mean, it took me 20 years to start doing physical therapy and occupational therapy because I didn't know how to navigate. It can be complicated sometimes. I didn't know how to find it or navigate the insurance. I mean, and that's what we hope to do with this podcast, is be able to help people, to show them. I mean, we don't have a handbook, but if we can add some chapters to somebody else's handbook. Well,
that's the thing. There's no universal answer for this. That's why, if anything, if this podcast does anything, it's pretty sustainable because there is no universal answer. You and I could ask the same question today. We could ask the same question today, ask the same question 10 episodes from now, and have different answers. I've
already thought of, I keep my phone here with me. I've thought of 3 different episode ideas while we've been talking today. There's always, I mean, in addition to even looking at the answers, you need to be comfortable asking the questions.
I'm a little bummed because we blew right by it, but the way you were describing the skin on your remote sounds like something that you would get at an adult bookstore.
Stop. God, you're such a child.
I wanted to at least circle back and make sure I crowbarred that joke in because you said it was, it was creepy. Yes. But no, you look, that's a theme. That it should be a bumper sticker. It should be a bumper sticker that goes on the back of your wheelchair.
Which says
disability doesn't come with a handbook. What was the phrase? What was the way you had it worded?
I said that disability diagnosis doesn't come. Yeah, disability doesn't come with a handbook.
Yeah, but that's disability doesn't come with a handbook.
Well, and you would be constantly changing.
Right.
You'd need like a Harry Potter special wizard handbook that's constantly updating.
Yeah.
But knowing that asking for help is not a burden. It's not a bother to most people.
It's not.
My kids, it's more my mindset that I don't want to be the bother. But my kids always tell me I'm not a bother.
Well, and that's the thing. I think, and you and I are both gold medalists at this. We both beat ourselves up. We both, I am historically my own worst critic, more so than anybody else could ever, review anything I've ever done. I will beat myself up before, more than anybody else ever will. And you will, and I've seen you do the same in a lot of cases. I think it's hard. It's hard for both of us. And I've seen it. I've watched you toil over.
I was just trying to think of when I've had trouble asking you for help. I would say probably one of my biggest things is I need help going to the bathroom.
Well, yes.
And I know that there have been times where I've actually had to ask you to help me.
Yep.
And I think when I had that heart trouble, and it happened when I was in the bathroom, and you were the only person home, and I would be comfortable sitting there suffering through those heart issues on that toilet rather than asking for your help the first time. That was horrible.
Well, first off, I was glad to help. I mean, I don't ever want to see you suffer. I don't want to see anybody. Well, okay. I won't say I don't want to see anybody suffer, because I have a special list for those people. But there's a few people I have a list for you. A little suffering going their direction will be
stop it.
Be fine. You're not one of those people. Most people are not on that. It's a short list. But
I've got a couple of football players, no names, because I don't want to get in trouble.
No. These are people that have actually really, really, truly wronged me in life, and
But that's the thing.
Anyway.
That being said, most people will help in a lot of situations.
And I have found that I'm trying to think of a good example that's not us. Timmy had a meltdown in a Portillo's a couple years ago. Timmy, so just background. Timmy's my son, autistic. Timmy had a but it wasn't like a violent meltdown. He was literally just laying on the floor in a Portillo's, just crying. He was just crying. It was Easter. It was right near Easter, and this little girl that was walking around giving away eggs, little plastic Easter eggs, came up to Timmy and just gave him an egg. Just gave him an egg. He, and I looked at her and I said, "Thank you." He's just having a really rough day. He's having a really rough time. And she just smiled and she said, "Well, I hope this helps him." And she walked away.
That's adorable. That's a great example of how help doesn't have to be direct help.
Yeah, it doesn't. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be asked for. Sometimes you see somebody that just needs it and you give them a hand.
Thinking about our most recent trips, I mean, didn't we had some security officers at the Hall of Fame in Canton at that horrible football game?
Yes.
But we had one security officer that didn't help us at all.
We had one guy that
was the second set that came.
Yes. But you know who was the most helpful on that trip? The restaurant people.
That was a fabulous.
The restaurant.
I thought about them the other night. I was out with my children, and I mentioned it to them about that girl at the restaurant who helped me.
Well, and we're kind of getting time. We're getting close to time.
Yeah, I thought so.
But so we could close up with the restaurant story.
That would be, because that might lead into episodes we want to do next time.
Okay.
Being out in public.
So very quickly, we got a few minutes.
Go ahead.
Wheels and I, one of the events that sort of bore this idea of doing a podcast was going to stadiums, going to different stadiums, going to different places, and navigating it with a wheelchair and with, the dopey guy that pushes the chair. That would be me.
Self-proclaimed dopey guy.
Yes. So we decided at the beginning of last year's football season, because there were 3 Hall of Famers, there were 3 inductees going in from the Bears.
By the way, we love the Chicago Bears.
We're Bears fans. That in of itself is a giant cry for help. We said, let's go to the Hall of Fame game. So we went. We went to Canton. We went to Canton, Ohio. We went to the Hall of Fame game. And if anybody has any memory of that game, in the middle of the third quarter, torrential downpour, just an insane storm, lightning, thunder, mayhem, cats and dogs living together.
Second coming.
Yeah. I was waiting for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man to come walking down the street like the end of Ghostbusters.
Yep. Dogs and cats living together.
So we pull the wheelchair back into, like the sheltered area, and we're hanging out there waiting for the storm to pass and the game to resume. And lo and behold, they're just like, look, it's the Hall of Fame game that very few people actually care about. We're just calling the game. We're done. Well, the precursor to all of this is Wheels and I got to the parking lot late enough that the handicap parking, the disabled parking, was full. So we had to park like 4 blocks away in somebody's front yard. And I'm pushing the wheelchair.
Very nice people who helped us.
They're very nice people. They let us park in their front yard for like $5. And so now I'm pushing. And Canton, by the way, the surrounding areas of Canton Stadium are not terribly flat. So this is not an easy push. Well, so some guys driving around on a golf cart giving people rides up to the stadium.
Oh, he was awesome.
The guy comes driving by, and I go, he's like, you need some help? I go, how do we get a wheelchair on here? He goes, hang on a minute. And I don't know if it was him or did he call the guy with another car? They actually brought like a modified golf cart that had a wheelchair where we could just wheel you up on a golf cart. That's cool. But then at the end, we're standing there. So the game's over and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. And the geniuses in Canton, Ohio, the mad genius that runs Canton, Ohio, decides to send the shuttle buses that are getting people back to their cars, sends them all home. Well,
that was not helpful.
No, it was not. Canton police, stadium police. I'm walking around. I'm like, okay, guys, listen. I need help getting her to the car.
Okay, wait. I'm in a metal wheelchair, and there's lightning. Weather and wheelchair will be another episode.
Yes, lightning and metal wheelchairs equals bad. So.
You're the one saying it's just.
I asked this one guy, and he goes, "Yeah, I can't help you. I'm not going to say which service he worked for, but he's like, I can't help you." And I'm like, "No, you could help me, but you won't." So then we see down towards the end of the stadium, towards the end of by the entrance where we had come in, where by the way, ramps in the stadium, actual stadium access in Canton, pretty good, as I seem to recall.
It was.
The bathrooms were good. The ramps were good. That part was all right. So I get down there, and the guy goes, I go, how do I get her back to the car? Which, by the way, is not in the parking lot. It's 4 blocks or 5 blocks outside of the parking lot. How do I get her there? Well, the guy comes back. He goes, hang on a minute, stay here. He goes downstairs. This guy runs downstairs to customer relations or customer, what's the like customer service at a stadium?
Usually guest services.
Guest services, and there's our time. So guest services at the stadium. Yeah, guest services is what I was looking for. And he comes back. He says, yeah, listen, if you go to the other side of the stadium, there's an exit over there. They're having a little rallying point. They're going to have somebody come and pick you up. There's other people in wheelchairs and things there. Go wait over there. Because while that's happening, I leave you in the perfectly safe custody of another like Canton or Ohio State police officer. Well, I run down to the gate. To see if there's golf carts, just to see if the golf cart guy was back. Guy goes, oh, no. They sent all those folks home in the weather. They can't be out in the weather. They sent them all home. I'm like, well, how do I get?
This is like half an hour after they made this decision. We're still working.
Oh yeah,
we're even like an hour.
There's 15 ticketed guests left in the stadium, and we're 2 of them trying to figure out how we're going to get back to the car. So they send us to the other side of the stadium to this rallying point where they're going to have somebody come get us. We get there the rain had slowed down. The storms were kind of passing, at least temporarily.
This was at least by this point, it was an hour and a half, almost 2 hours.
The parking lot's practically empty. I can see the parking lot. The parking lot's empty. And I wish I could remember the name of the restaurant. I would give the restaurant a plug, because these people were so nice. So we're standing there, and it starts raining again. And everybody goes running across the street to this restaurant that's closing, but they have an awning. And people are just like a metal awning. So we're all standing under the awning.
Standing?
Well, okay.
At least 50% of us were not.
So there was you and there was one other guy in a wheelchair. And they let us actually come inside into the foyer. And the manager of this restaurant, whoever the shift manager at the time, was like I love this woman. I adore this woman. She comes down, she goes, look, we're trying to close. I just called the head of security, who I happen to be a friend. My manager here at the restaurant is friends with the manager, the head of security and everything. They are bringing somebody, they've called people in to get a shuttle bus to bring us to come and get you guys. And I'm like, is it a wheelchair accessible shuttle bus? Yes, it is. Okay, great. And then you had been sitting up for so long that you were like, when you know how you do that, when you get that thing where you're sitting up really.
We call it the collapse. I start collapsing. Your core, you've got no strength.
So I asked the manager, I go, look, she needs to lay down flat for a couple of minutes. And she lets us go inside and lay you down on the bench at a booth. Yeah. In a booth. You're just laying down. Awesome. Yeah, that was fantastic.
The only people in there, and I'm just lying flat on this booth. This
is the pinnacle of needing help and getting help, by the way. It all ties together.
Yeah.
So finally a shuttle bus shows up. The guy driving the shuttle bus is not from Canton, does not know the area, knows nowhere about where we're going. And the bus is full of people. This guy's just driving in circles. He has no idea where anybody's car is, nor does anybody in the car. Finally, somebody on the bus has to take charge.
And who is that?
And I've decided it's me, because my level of irritation at this point is just beyond comprehension. So I'm like,
this is like 11 o'clock at night and the game started at 6.
The game has been over for 2 hours and we're still trying to get back to the car. So I go to the front of the bus. I go to the front of the shuttle bus, and for the sake, it's not like a school bus. It's a transport bus, a little transport deal, like you get at the airport. I go up to the driver. I go, do you have any idea where you're going? He goes, no, man, I'm not even from here. Okay. And now I said, look, when you hit the stop sign up here, just stay there for a minute. I turn around and I start, okay, everybody show of hands. Who was in the regular parking lot? Okay. Most people. All right. So get out the phone, GPS, the parking lot is here. We're here. All right. Listen, I'm going to give you directions where to go. So now I'm feeding him directions. I get half of the bus gets off to the parking lot and gets their car. Now I'm like, okay, where are you folks? Okay. You know where your car's at? They got an address. You know where your car's at? I know where our car's at. because I remembered to mark the address on my phone.
Yeah.
Smart. So I'm like, okay, you're next, then us. You people are on your own after us but you've clearly seen what I'm doing. You can do this. Finally, they get to us. We get to the car. We get you. They get you on the little thing that drops you down. Get into the car. There's one car left in this woman's front lawn, and it's ours. and I get you loaded, and we get back to the hotel. We get back to the Red Roof Inn in Canton, Ohio, and it's like 11:30. It's like 11:30, quarter to 12. I get you to your room, Matthew. Your son is there waiting for you. I'm going, where have you guys been? Did you see that storm that went through? Yes, Matthew, we did.
Oh my God!
It was complete and utter madness.
But look how much help we had,
and
you helped other people, and they were so grateful for that.
Everybody was super helpful. We got tons of help. Sometimes the help needed to be a little coordinated and organized.
And we had to ask for it a lot of times.
We had to ask for it. But we got through it, and we got through it with a lot of helping hands. We got through it with some patience and some grace, and
a lot of laughs.
And we laughed crazy all the way through.
I mean, I think we were giddy on that bus ride.
And I think as I'm thinking about it, somewhere around the time of that bus ride, maybe on that bus ride,
right,
was when you and I first uttered the word podcast.
It was such a ridiculous ride. We came up with so many ideas.
Right.
Because we knew that we needed help and all these other people needed help.
Yeah.
And no one knew what to do. We were all just riding this bus, just going nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully, with a little bit of help from the technological, geniuses that created the GPS, we got us home.
Yes, we did.
And
the Red Roof Inn, not home.
Like I said, somewhere on that, I'm pretty sure somewhere on that bus ride was the first time we uttered the word podcast. I think that may have been, as I'm walking through my head on this again.
Yeah.
That may have been the birth, may have been the conception.
Yeah.
That was the night you and I conceived of this little child that is our podcast.
We had to share our ridiculousness.
Yeah.
With the world.
So, effort to, I think, you got anything else you have to add?
No, I just want to remind people, as exhausting as it might be, there is help out there. Just reach out for it. Help is not always going to come to you. Luckily, I've got wheels. I can roll myself. Takes a little bit less energy, but I can always search for it.
Yep.
And find great friends like you.
Well, thank you. I'm touched. I am touched in the head. It's hard. It's just hard to do. But yeah, you're right. A little bit of, give yourself a little bit of grace in the process of understanding that you're going to need a hand. If you can do that, ask with a smile. If you're on the giving end of help, give it with a smile. Make a little, drop a little dad joke in there somewhere along the way, or something silly like that, just to, if anything, maybe it provides the person asking with a little bit of brevity. It certainly helps. And with that, Wheels?
Yes.
I think we're out. I will be stopping as soon as I can find it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for those of you who have joined and listened and are being a part of this. Please tell your friends.
Hope it helped.
Yeah. Please tell your friends about us. We are looking for a groundswell of grassroots movements. If you have suggestions, if you have thoughts, if you have things you would like us to talk about, products you would like us to look at, Wheels at wheelsandshaky.com, Shaky at wheelsandshaky.com. You can find this podcast, if you already found it, it's on YouTube. If you want to see it on YouTube, you can do that. I advise listening only because of how I particularly YouTube, Wheels and Shaky at YouTube. You can search it on YouTube, and at the end of the video, there'll be a QR code to find the website. And please like and subscribe. Right?
Sounds good to me. This is all a work in progress. It is getting there.
It's better. I'm going to stop. And 3, 2, 1, we're out.